For decades, the math of making medicine has been, honestly, brutally punishing. We're talking about a traditional drug discovery process that typically drains 6 to 8 years and upwards of $100 to $200 million just to get a single compound ready for clinical trials. That is a heartbreaking amount of time for patients who are literally waiting for a cure. But that equation has fundamentally inverted. We are entering an entirely new AI-driven reality where that exact same discovery phase takes just 18 months and at a tiny fraction of the cost, roughly $6 million. So we're not just looking at some marginal, incremental improvement here. This is a complete and total rewiring of pharmaceutical economics.
Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're breaking down exactly how artificial intelligence is radically transforming the entire pharmaceutical value chain. We're leaving all the hype and the hypothetical theories at the door today. Instead, we're looking at the verified data and the actual structural shifts happening right now across the industry. From the very first line of code that dreams up a molecule, all the way down to the final regulatory sign-off.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. AI rewires drug discovery. 2. India's AI-native pharma pivot. 3. Smarter manufacturing and compliance. 4. Health data and privacy. And 5. FDA speeds up AI approvals. Let's get into it. Section 1. AI rewires drug discovery, from code to clinical trials. To truly grasp this shift, we really have to look at what happens when the algorithm actually works in the real world. Take idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. It's a devastating, highly complex lung disease that has historically stumped researchers, leading to countless dead-end trials. Yet, Insilico Medicine's INS 018_055 has successfully hit Phase IIa clinical trials for this exact condition. Guys, it is the very first fully end-to-end AI-designed drug to do so. And artificial intelligence literally conceived the target, designed the molecular structure, and optimized it for human testing in just a year and a half. And according to the latest trial readouts, it's actually showing statistically significant efficacy. This is exactly the ultimate proof of concept the entire global healthcare industry has been holding its breath for. And because we now have that concrete proof of concept, the financial floodgates have completely opened up. The stakes are skyrocketing. $1 billion. That is the size of just a single massive commitment we're seeing right now, as the giants of biology and the giants of computing merge their expertise.
That billion-dollar figure represents the new Eli Lilly and NVIDIA AI co-innovation lab out in the Bay Area. But the crucial point here is how they're actually spending that capital to build what they're calling a continuous learning system. They are taking computational dry labs and linking them directly with physical agentic wet labs. Think of an agentic wet lab like a tireless robotic scientist. By co-locating Lilly's master biologists with NVIDIA's AI builders, they've created a 24/7 loop. The physical biology experiments feed real-world data directly into the AI. The AI processes that data, updates its models using platforms like BioNeMo overnight, and then immediately directs those robotic arms to run the next physical experiment by morning. It never sleeps. It's a perpetual engine of scientific discovery, and it's absolutely mind-blowing.
Section 2. India's AI-native pharma pivot, shifting from volume to value.
If you want to understand where global medicine is actually heading, you have to look at the manufacturing engine room of the world. Historically, India has been the undisputed pharmacy of the world, driving an incredibly successful volume-led approach. They currently supply about 20% of all generic drugs globally and a staggering 60% of the world's vaccines. But the industry is undergoing a massive structural reset right now. As outlined by EY Parthenon, they're pivoting to an AI-native architecture. The focus is rapidly shifting away from just churning out affordable traditional generics. The new era is completely value-driven, pouring resources into AI-enabled biologics and building entirely new, reusable innovation platforms. And listen, this isn't just some corporate trend. It is a sweeping national mandate. At the India Pharma 2026 Summit, government and industry leaders laid out a very clear roadmap. It's directly tied to the Viksit Bharat 2047 target, which is India's grand, overarching vision to achieve fully developed nation status by the year 2047. To help get there, the pharmaceutical sector aims to build a $500 billion industry. And the consensus? Relying on isolated, one-off product successes simply won't scale fast enough anymore. They are urgently adopting AI to create platform-led innovation, meaning they want systems that can discover and produce not just one drug, but hundreds of them. Section 3. Smarter manufacturing and compliance. Always audit ready.
Now, all of this amazing R&D innovation doesn't mean a thing if you can't actually manufacture the drugs safely and legally. Making medicine requires incredibly strict compliance. Imagine walking the factory floor. You've got workers in fully sterile suits dealing with physical stacks of paper where a single smudged signature, a typo, or a missed timestamp can literally ruin a multi-million-dollar batch of life-saving medicine. Enter tools like Lucine's AI platform. It specifically targets this massive, everyday pain point of staying compliant without slowing down production.
This perfectly illustrates just how immensely practical AI has become in the real world. Platforms like Lucene are fully GMP compliant. That stands for Good Manufacturing Practice, the absolute gold standard of factory safety. By automatically handling batch records and instantly flagging any slight deviation in the manufacturing process, it drastically cuts down on human error and eliminates the agonizing need to rework ruined batches. So, what's the big takeaway here? It gives these manufacturing facilities out-of-the-box readiness for the most rigorous inspections on the planet, whether from the FDA, the EMA, or the WHO. The profound relief of being always audit-ready saves these companies mass amounts of time, money, and quite frankly, a lot of anxiety.
Section 4. Health, Data, and Privacy. Powering the AI models safely. All right, to make any of these AI models intelligent, you need raw fuel, and that fuel is an unimaginably massive scale of data. But health data is deeply personal. In India, they're navigating this by utilizing platforms like AIKosh, which acts as a national repository of highly anonymized health datasets. By working alongside the Ayushman Bharat digital mission, they're building interoperable records that different healthcare systems can actually read. But the true hero here is the legal framework. All of this is strictly governed by India's DPDP Act. It guarantees that privacy by design isn't just some marketing buzzword. It is the absolute foundational legal requirement for training any health AI. So you might be wondering, how exactly do you train a global AI across thousands of different hospitals without ever exposing private patient records? The technological solution to this is called federated learning, and it's brilliant. Imagine sending a top-tier student to a dozen different highly secure libraries around the world to learn. They're allowed to study the rare books inside the library, but they are absolutely forbidden from taking the actual books outside. They can only bring back the knowledge inside their head. That is federated learning. Instead of gathering sensitive patient data into one giant, highly hackable database, you send the AI model to the local hospital. The AI learns from the data locally, and then only transmits the lessons it learned, the model weights, back to the central system. The raw patient data never leaves the building. It perfectly solves the dilemma of sharing vital medical knowledge without ever compromising private information. And because the industry has successfully engineered these deeply secure, privacy-first ways to handle data, the financial projections are staggering. According to numbers presented at the Life Sciences and Healthcare Innovation Forum, the global market for AI in healthcare is projected to completely skyrocket, crossing $187 billion by the year 2030. When you remove the bottleneck of data privacy through smart engineering like this, the cascading effects on investment and rapid development are practically limitless. And finally, Section 5. FDA speeds up AI approvals. The rulebook keeps pace. Historically, government regulators are kind of known for moving at a glacial pace, right? But we are witnessing a complete paradigm shift here. The FDA recently released draft guidance outlining an entirely new accelerated AI pathway. Instead of just waiting to look at the final biological results in a petri dish, the FDA is now actively evaluating the transparency and reproducibility of the AI process itself. If a pharmaceutical company can provide bulletproof computational evidence that its AI knows exactly what it's doing and why it's making certain decisions, the FDA will let them bypass years of red tape and speed right into clinical trials. They're officially validating the intelligence of the algorithm, not just the physical molecule it produced. And the FDA's digital health push is expanding aggressively. They've launched a major drug repurposing initiative. Now, drug repurposing simply means taking an already approved, proven safe drug and using AI to scour real-world data to find out if it can actually treat a completely different new disease. Because the drug is already known to be safe, it skips years of safety testing, vastly lowering costs, which, by the way, is a total game changer for rare diseases. The FDA has also officially qualified its first ever AI drug development tool under the 21st Century Cures Act. They're even actively embedding artificial intelligence directly into the daily workflows of their own government employees. The regulator is rapidly becoming just as tech-savvy as the pharmaceutical giants they oversee. All of this brings us to the overarching sentiment driving this historic shift.
As leaders from global giants like Eli Lilly and Zydus concluded at a recent summit, the question is not whether, but how swiftly pharma can harness AI. The momentum across the entire value chain is pretty definitive. From the very first line of code writing new molecular structures in a tireless robotic wet lab, to the factory floors that perfectly audit themselves, all the way to the FDA modernizing its own rulebook, the transformation is absolutely unstoppable. The entire architecture of how we discover, manufacture, and approve medicine has been permanently rewired. The technology is already here, the data privacy codes are cracked, and the regulatory pathways are wide open. So, leaving you to look at your own organization today, the only real question left is your workflow ready for the